What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the Challenger. You guys haven't seen it in a while and the progress that I've been making. I hadn't been filming it because the initial videos that I did of it didn't really get great views, and so I've just kind of been plugging away at it and working. As you can see here, the front end is in the process of getting stripped down back to bare metal, getting cleaned up, getting the undercoating and all that kind of stuff stripped off. We have fixed, remember this spot was rusted here. You can kind of still see my line here. We're still working on it, but that's been replaced. Got a new lower support in. I think that was about it on the front. But today, what this video is going to be about is us making this car 4-speed. And as if you remember the first video, this car was originally 318 automatic floor shift console car. We are going 440 4-speed, and so we are in the process now of doing what needs to be done to the body for 4-speed. So if you ever want to convert your car from automatic to 4-speed, as far as the body goes, there's two main things that you need. The first one, and this comes from Brewers, is a ball stud bracket. I primed this inside because once I weld it in down here, it's going to be facing the firewall and the inner fender, and just in case I can't get in there and prime and paint real well, I went ahead and shot some primer on it. But you're going to need that. That's what I'm about to weld in. I've went ahead and got my spot cleaned up down here. And, oh, I wasn't thinking the dash is on top of this box. We've got a mess in the shop, y'all. There's been a lot going on. As you can see, doors, trunk lid are all done. Fenders are over there, they're done. And the back half of the car is done. Got finished getting quarter panels all repaired, trunk floor, roof, everything is slick and in epoxy, ready for high build. But you will also need a 4-speed hump, and this is from AMD, and so that's going to be going in the floor. So I figured today what I'm doing is I'm getting the front end stripped. I had a few spots, like this brace was cracked here, just little stuff like that around, and just going around and getting all that stuff secured up, cleaning, sanding down. I don't know if I'll get this epoxy today or tomorrow. I'm not going to bother filming that, but we're going to get the front end epoxy. But before I do that, I need to get the ball stud bracket welded in. And what this does is your Z-bar that comes out of the side of your clutch that hooks to your clutch rod, which goes through that hole. Holds the bracket, supports the bracket that can run across to your clutch. So you're going to have to weld that in. I have the measurements on a picture on my phone. I'm using my phone to film. So otherwise I would show you those right now. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get it welded in, and then I will show you the measurements I went by. From my research, there's no real just completely exact, down to a millimeter where this thing goes. But there is obviously a spot. But you got a little bit of play in that bar, so you can move around a little bit. But I'm gonna put it where I have a picture of an original bracket on an original Challenger, and he has the tape measure, spots, everything. So that's the one I'm going to go with, and that's the one I will show you once I get it done. All right, we're on our way. If you're not the world's best welder, neither was the factory. So really, you just have to. It has to be just a good solid weld. If you're looking for like correct. They didn't weld great from the factory. So I didn't worry so much about it just being the most beautiful weld in the world. I just kind of focused on it being more solid. Even those slag, the little, slag pops here and there, if you ever get on a factory car, they're there. Matter of fact, on the outside of this inner fender here, where they spot welded all these in and stuff, there's actual wire still left. When I did my Super B, there was a humongous piece, like a 3 or 4 inch piece of wire, I remember, on the side of the firewall over there where they had welded and just cut off and sent it. So, you're really just looking for strong when you do this kind of stuff. So as far as my measurements goes, from the tip of this to the end of this is about 2 3/4. Not quite 2 3/4, according to the pictures reference that I had. This right here was about 2 1/2, not quite, but close. And then this measurement from here to here was about 3 3/4, which is what I have there. And then, you know, this one here was just about 5/8 of an inch from the inside, which is what I put it at. So again, I looked at multiple pictures and saw variances from a 1/16 or sometimes maybe even up to an 1/8, one way or the other. But I found one that was like original pictures on the ebody.org forum, I believe it was. I can't remember the guy who posted it, but that's kind of the one that I went with, kind of as far as setting this thing in place. So yeah, we are on our way to 4-speed car. So all right, well guys, I'm gonna get back to stripping and cleaning the inside of this car, and hopefully here in the next day or two I'm gonna get it in epoxy. Once that's done, I'll get back with you and we'll cut a big old hole in the floor and put the 4-speed hump in. Okay y'all, we have moved inside the car. The engine bay is all epoxied. So this is all bracketry for console. I have the console to the car. If anybody needs a dark green console, it's in decent driver shape. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and maybe list it for sale or take it to a swap meet or something. But anyway, we're not running a console in this car. So all of this has to come out. Now I'm not gonna just hack it out. I'm gonna keep it intact, because from the factory, these were held in with just little stitch tacks every so often. So I'm just gonna cut those out, keep the bracketry intact as much as possible, because I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants to put a console in their car, and this may be something someone else can use. So yeah, it would be ideal to just cut the floor out and leave all these attached, but I can't lay the hump on here and trace it because it hits the bracketry. So it's got to come out first, then we can mark our hole and cut it. So I'm gonna get to doing that and get it out of the way. Then we'll lay our hump in here, trace it out, and cut our big hole for the actual transmission. Well, the brackets are out. They all came out nice and neat. They're all stacked up there. There is said console. It's disgusting. Dirty and dusty from sitting in the shop. So now, it's time for this. And this is the AMD pan. And from what I can tell, I think it's gonna set in there pretty much kind of line itself up. It's shaped to fit mold on the floor, and I mean, judging from that, it's a little off back here, a little high, but that curve is fitting good, and up there is kind of laying in there nice. This lays up nice. There is also a bunch of crap under here. Could have something to do with it, but I'm gonna look up some pictures online and see if I can get an idea. I know the, let's see, where is it? The cross brace is right in here. You can see that. So I know I'm gonna leave, whenever I cut the floor out, whenever I cut the floor out, I have to leave a section right in here that's plated to the cross member. So it'd actually be 2 cuts, one big one here and then the one back here, and we'll leave the center that plates in the cross member. So, all right, I think I'm just gonna clean this up and kind of fiddle around with positioning this thing and see if we can get us a good, kind of a good idea where it goes. I'm not gonna spot weld it in, I'm just gonna stitch weld it just like they did. Because you're gonna stitch weld it, put seam sealer on it, and then it's going to be under the carpet. So, I mean, and that's the way they did it. I mean, you saw the welds on the thing; they're all stitch welded, and I think that'd be easier than trying to spot weld this anyway. Okay, from what I can tell, as far as reference pictures goes, this is pretty much where it needs to be, and this is where it fits the best. I think everything here can be kind of clamped down and welded, but I mean, just, you know, held down the welds to do it. So I think that's pretty much where it's going to go. All the reference pictures I looked at seem to fall right in the body lines, where it was right to the end of that big major mount there, because that's going to be your seat mount, front seat mount hole, and there's your other one. They all look like they fall right in that same area, and that's where this thing seems to fit well. So I'm gonna kind of go there. So that's where it's gonna be. Again, kind of like with the bracket there. When you get people measuring them, there's always a little variance here and there. And I know some people say you need to do the transmission first and make sure. Man, we're probably a couple of years away from that. I don't have a bell housing. I don't have a lot of stuff that I need to mock up and put the 4-speed in here to make sure that's where it goes. This is where this fits. A&D products are usually pretty good. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're the best pretty much you can get other than OEM. And all the pictures I looked at of stock 4-speed humps, they all fall in those same body line positions within, I'd say within 1/8 of an inch. And so I think that's plenty close for what we're doing here. So no need to overthink it. No need to get too crazy with it. I believe this is where it's going to go. So I'm going to trace the outline of it, and then I'll step inside that probably, I don't know, 1/2 inch, maybe something like that, and do another line, and that will be the actual one that I cut. So you'll have a little bit of overlay between, you know, obvious reasons. And then we'll seam seal top, and then when we get underneath the car and do the bottom side of the car, we'll seam seal from the bottom as well. And I'm gonna tell you something, when I did my Super B, it was a factory 4-speed car, and tell you something, they didn't worry about in the factory things being beautiful. They hacked that stuff to death and slapped it in. I mean, it was amazing, some of the stuff you find on there. But anyway, all right, y'all, it's cutting day. We're gonna get in there and cut the hole in the floor today and get the hump welded in. You can see my rough outline pattern here. The inside line is my cut line. The outside is what traced. I lost focus here. The outside line was there. I stepped in 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Right in here is where the cross member, the center support, goes. So that's going to stay. I don't know exactly where the cross member tabs are. So what I'm going to do is actually get under the car and with my cutting wheel and just cut up through the floor in a few spots so that I can then come up here and be able to tell kind of where it is, so we can get a good clean cut all the way around, and then just kind of clean the floor up and weld this thing in. So yeah, probably just gonna time lapse you guys and throw some sparks. Well, it's in there, guys. You can see we just got stitch welds all around the edge, all down. Get on the other side. And I know you may be looking at those and going, man, why didn't you grind off the coating? That coating welds pretty well for this kind of stuff. I've never had, I mean, if I was out here really trying to do like a body panel or something where it had to look pretty, then yeah. But from the factory, this stuff was fairly crude, and I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried about strength on something like this than I am, looks. But you can see we just got, welds every so often all the way around. This gap right here was a little too big. I think I'm gonna try to maybe hammer it just a little bit more, at least so I can get some weld right in here. But, and as far as like up in there, what my plan is whenever I coat and I paint the bottom, we'll paint all up in there. And obviously this is gonna get seam sealer all the way around. Heavy dust is a seam sealer. We're gonna redo that factory joint up there. It's cracking and coming out anyway. So yeah, if you've ever actually cut into one of these old cars, like especially in this area, they weren't worried about beauty by any means, and that they just put it in there. So this right here, in my experience with the ones I've seen, matches on par. So well, we got us a 4-speed car now. I mean, we're basically done. This car, another week and it, I wish. We're just chipping away at it, man. Now that that's in, we can proceed. I'm gonna get date night out of the way, and here within the next week or so, Lord willing, the car will go on the lift, go up in the air, and we'll start cleaning the bottom of the car. It's not bad, it's not undercoated or nothing like that. It just needs kind of going over with a wire wheel, and there's a few spots to repair here and there, nothing major at all. I think a few hours underneath and I'll have it fairly clean and welded up, what little repairs I got to do. But the big thing is we're going to put torque boxes in the car. So putting those in, from what I can tell, they are going to require some massaging and some fitting, but it will get torque boxes. I'm not going to do subframe connectors. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm shooting for around 500 horsepower, give or take a little bit, hopefully give a little bit to that in this car. And so, I know the subframe connectors make a big difference. I'm not saying they're not, legit for what they are, but my pocketbook, and I just, it's not really for that. Unless somebody comments and changes my mind. But definitely get torque boxes for sure. And then we're going to be coating the bottom, not rubberized coating, but we're going to be painting the bottom. It's probably going to get one coat of monocoat, which is a Tamco's sort of black rust encapsulator hard shell paint. We're going to do one coat of that underneath and inside the car. And then on the bottom, we'll probably give it 2 coats of epoxy. And then maybe a coat of matte clear. And the bottom will be, that's what it's going to be. It's just going to be this color gray, because that's what it was from the factory. And then, of course, it'll get the white overspray down the edge when we actually paint the car. But just want to make sure the bottom of the car is sealed up good and protected. I did rubberized coating on my Super B, and I kind of always wished that I wouldn't have. I always wished I would have just primed it and done it the right color and just let it be. Undercoatings, I don't think really does anything. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to put sound mat in the car. I think that's really all you need. I don't think the rubberized undercoating does really anything, to be honest with you, except for like maybe rock chips. And you don't really, most of that's going to be in the fender wells. So, anywho, we're a 4-speed car now, basically. We've got the 4-speed stuff. So yeah, humps in, brackets in. The whole car is one color. Doors over there. The hood still has to be done. I'm gonna be getting on that here soon. But that's gonna do it for the Challenger update. That's where we are with it. and going to keep chipping away at it, plugging along. So comment below, guys, anything you'd like to see, questions, suggestions, things of that nature. I'd love to hear them. So other than that, talk to you guys later.